Now, Sithembiso Mpehle co-founded Dipopai Studios and set his sights on reimagining the African narrative through storytelling. He has subsequently been recognized by the Mail and Guardian as one of South Africa's top 200 young entrepreneurs for his work in the film and media space. His story has just begun. Here he is to tell us more about the life of a digital animator. Watch this.
I hope you don't mind. 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 Telugus. Hold up, Telugus. Umuntu ofana nami engangena kanjani? Umuntu ofana nami engangena kanjani? Telugus. Hold up, Telugus. Umuntu ofana nami engangena kanjani? Umuntu ofana nami engangena kanjani?
Yes, you know what they say, when something is really good, you gotta play it twice. Into mnandi iyaphindwa. My name is Sithembiso Mpehle. I am an animator. I am a trainer, an animation trainer at vistas. But more than anything, I am a storyteller. And I think at the core of what I do, that's essentially the most important thing, because animation is really about what are you trying to tell your audience? What are you trying to communicate to the people around you, to the world? What is your message? And it's a fairly, how can I say, industry that people aren't familiar with. And that's why I'm here to sort of give you guys insights on what it is to be an animator. So just background story, I used to be one of those kids in school that used to love drawing. Like everything was just about drawing. I always used to make comic books. I used to make comic books in high school for the school magazine. And because I always wanted to be an animator, but I just didn't have avenues or places where I could learn how to animate. I always thought it was something I needed to do either overseas or I had to come from a place of privilege. And in 2010, I found out about animation. I found out that you can do animation from home. You don't need to go anywhere. And the advent of technology and YouTube and just the access to internet kind of broadened my view of animation. And from that moment on, I knew exactly what it is that I wanted to do as an adult. And I never saw any other animators around me. I never saw a lot of animated content on TV that best represented me in terms of my representation, how I look, how I sound, the languages I spoke. And so I always felt like there's a gap in that space. And if I was to create my own, because I really was telling stories, but if I can create this animation, there's a space for me to, change the world, or change the way we view animation. And I started Dipopai Studios 5 years after graduating from high school, and just a bunch of my friends. And in doing so, I learned the three main roles of being an animator. And the main roles are an employee, a freelancer, and an entrepreneur. And I'm gonna break those down for you because there's this misconception that they are better than each other. No, they are all the same. It just depends on you. What do you want to achieve in those three roles? An employee works for an organization, works for a studio. And you receive all your benefits. You come in, you clock in at 8 or 9, whatever the hours are. And that's essentially, you come in and you leave. You do your job after work, you close your books, you carry on with your life, and that's pretty much an employee. A freelancer works similar to an employee, similarly to an employee, but you work for multiple organizations. So you could be working for 3 different companies, servicing them with your animation expertise all at the same time, but you are your own independent boss, to put it that way. And then an entrepreneur runs the studio. And you make sure that everyone in your team is doing their jobs, everyone is meeting the deadlines, clients are happy, and I think of the three is the most stressful because not only are you worried about yourself, you're worried about everyone else. So those are the three main roles. And I figured, you know what, because of the kind of guy that I am, I want to tell my own stories, I want to have my own voice. I don't want to be limited to anything. I think I'll go for the entrepreneurship role. And that's what made me decide to start my own company. And it came with its challenges, you know? And I got to learn in the animation process that it is such a multifaceted medium. People think in order for you to be an animator, all you need to do is draw. And that's not true. So I want to debunk that today. For just a typical animation to be created, you need a bunch of experts. One, the first thing is you need an idea, like I said in the beginning. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to communicate? Right? So that's the ideation phase. Number two, you need to take that idea and write it down. So you need a script writer, someone that can take those ideas in your head, because when they're in your head, it's all over the show, right? The script writer then puts it down and makes it make sense, touches all the beats, and concludes the story so that the audience watching it can consume it and it's more palatable. Then from there, you then have the voiceover actors, right? We haven't even drawn anything yet. So you get the voiceover actors who then come in and do the voices for the script, right? While that's happening, you have the storyboard artists who then come in. Now the drawing then comes into place. They draw everything that's on the script and turn that into images so that not only are you just reading what's happening, the boy walked over the moon. No, now you see it visually as well. And now you've got voiceover actors that are recording. The boy jumped over the moon and said, "Ah!" You know, voice acting as well. And then the animators come in. Oh, before the animators, sorry. Then you've got your visual development. So you've got your character designers and your environment designers. So in animation, it's important to know that everything has to either be drawn, because nothing exists, right? It's all in your imagination. So you need to draw or build it. Unlike in live action or film where you just set up your camera, you start shooting the environment, animation, you create all of that stuff. So that's why it takes a bit longer. Once you've got the visual development team done, then you get the animators who now take those characters that have been designed, put them into the environments that have been created, and make them move and interact, listening to the audio that was recorded by the voiceover actors, right? And that's how the story is then told. Once the animators are done, it's then edited. It's given to an editor who then puts all the animation together so that it makes sense, all the clips, and he hands that over to the sound guy. The sound engineer then makes the beats, the music that you hear in animation, makes the score so that it seems and it feels like audio. You can feel the emotion in the story. And then you have a fully packaged product. So I mentioned so many different areas within just one animation pipeline that includes so many professionals. That's the power of the animation industry. You know, you don't only just have to draw and that's it. No, there's a lot that goes into it. And I know some of you at home, which is an issue that I also, or a challenge that I had, was convincing my parents that, yo, I need to do animation. And they would always look at me like, but where? How? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? How are you going to survive and sustain yourself in this industry? It's fairly new. And I had to show my parents that, no, there's gaming. If you pull out your phone and you look at the apps on your phone, it's animation. You pull out games, you play, it's animation. And I remember telling my mom, saying, there are three main things that you can do with animation that are so powerful and that fit into every industry. Educate, inform, and entertain. Those are the main three things you can do with animation. It's not only about just making Disney movies or stuff like that. There's also a potential to use animation as a tool to educate. or to train people within a company, maybe a company that deals with agriculture, and you need to train staff. When you have animated content that they see, oh, okay, this is how you do it. Or in a mine, for instance, how do you go down into the mines? You create an animated simulation instead of having the miners go in there. So there's a lot of areas and a lot of opportunity to literally grow in the animation space. So I had to explain that to my parents. Fortunately, they were supportive and they let me do it. And because of this, I've been able to travel, I think, over 18 countries, just discussing animation and the opportunities that it has because of the advent of technology. So for anyone that's interested in learning more about animation, I'm going to leave all my details behind so you guys can reach out to us. But we run an animation program at Wits, and it's a 12-month program. It's a paid internship where you learn the basics of animation as well as the business of animation, which is a very important aspect of it all. And I think I'll just wrap up there for now. Thank you so much.
Now, a few days ago, we learned about the digital arts landscape in South Africa. So your talks, Sithembiso, helped us to then understand the various areas of work that exist to give us all of our favorite animation movies, animated videos, and of course, the games that we love so much that are also animated. We've had a jam-packed agenda this opening segment, and just like that, we've reached the end of it. Please make sure that you continue to interact with us even as we go into our refreshment break. Our exhibition stands are open for you, and this is the best time for you to go and find those crosses, interact with the exhibitors. Each and every one of them has a manager ready to talk to you about the limitless world of science and technology. Make sure to collect all of those X's, collect the numbers, and on Friday, make sure that you give us the answer so you can win that iPhone 13. And of course, we have many other competitions going on throughout the day, from delegate bingo to soapbox to the polls. So interact with us using all of the buttons to the right or below the live stream. See you after the break, but remember, also send your song requests to our virtual DJ and make sure that you have fun. Check you later. Bye.